To the Kosi Arsenal podcast. My name is Kosi. Welcome back to a brand new video. So recently, Postcores has said that Isak is bigger than Arsenal and therefore he should be aiming higher. And aiming higher, he means Liverpool, he means Real Madrid. I mean, he will be very disappointed to understand that Alexander Isak is very open to a move to Arsenal this summer if the two clubs can agree on a deal, with Newcastle still being very, very adamant. But the big question I want us to discuss in this video is, one, is Alexander Isak bigger than Arsenal? That is number one. Personally, I kind of feel like it's an over-exaggeration of the boy's talents. But also, secondly, should Arsenal focus 110 million 150 million on one player, or should we spread it out and go 50 on Shesko, 50 on Zubimendi, 50 on Williams, and probably spend around 200 million on around 4-5 signings, which is the smarter move? Now, before you say obviously go for 5 players, there is also something that Arsenal are lacking, and Alexander Isak would solve that. The superstar player who we do not have. I think we last had a superstar player way back. It was Alexis Sanchez, that kind of guy that is, frightening, that kind of guy that can make things happen by himself, right? So let's talk about, Isak, and let's talk about the comments on, on the overlap by Postcores. So the first thing I want to say is, I don't think Alexander Isak, personally, is bigger than Arsenal. I could be wrong about this. There's no question about that. I could be wrong about this. I just do not feel that among the bigger players, in the world, I can point to Isak and say Isak is bigger than Arsenal. Maybe they are there. Maybe there are some players that are bigger than our club. Players that you're like, Mbappe doesn't fit in Arsenal. Like, really, Mbappe doesn't fit in Arsenal. That's the truth, right? And I would agree. I think there's some players that are, really big. But I don't think Alexander Isak, for him to say that Isak has to aim higher, I think he means Arsenal have, kind of lost their way in the last 2 windows. And that's the reason. If we had won the title last year, I don't think anyone goes out, goes around disrespecting us that, players should be aiming higher. I think if this season we don't suffer so many injuries and we keep up with the with Liverpool, I don't think anyone is disrespecting us and saying Isak is bigger than that. So I think there is a message from Postcores, and that message is known to make you angry or make me angry. That message is to show us that the team has fallen off track. There was a time where we were all going, Declan Rice should go to Arsenal. And everyone was agreeing, Arsenal adding Declan Rice, that's such a big move for 100 million. But now, we have Rice, and we've turned him into a pretty average player, honestly. And you look at the players that are around him, and you look at Isak, it's easy for anyone who's not an Arsenal fan, who's not deluded, to say Isak should aim higher. Isak should aim bigger. But for me, I think that, look, if he goes to Liverpool, that's a very good move. If he goes to Real Madrid, that's a very good move, or Barcelona. But if Arsenal got him, and we invested well around him, and he brought both the right profiles and the right players, I think Isak can be all right at Arsenal, and he can do a fantastic job. So he's not bigger than Arsenal, in my opinion. He's just, a reflection of where we are. I think 1 year ago, you signed Isak, Arsenal win the league. I think this year, you sign Isak, Arsenal are in a much better place. If we don't suffer, too many injuries, we are in a much better place. There's so many games that we could have won and we didn't, just because we didn't bury our chances, just because we didn't take our chances, right? Now, to the dismay of Postcores, the player is ready to move. And Arsenal is one of the clubs that are very interested. And Alexander Isak has zero problems with joining Arsenal in the summer if a deal can be agreed. Now, of course, the whole dynamics of agreeing a deal with Newcastle, that's very different. But Isak, Isak would love to play in the Champions League. Arsenal, Liverpool, and Manchester City are the guaranteed clubs to give you UEFA Champions League football this campaign. I kind of feel like I don't see Liverpool letting go of 110 million, but Arsenal have done it before. But I can see them spend like 80 million on a Victor Gyökeres. I can see them spend like I can see them bringing a player like Ademola Lookman. I can see them do something crazy, something beautiful. But I don't think they will spend 110 million on Isak. So that leaves Isak with very few options. One is to stay at Newcastle, which he has said already. It's a very good thing for him to stay at Newcastle. He loves the club, blah, 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 blah. And the other thing is to move to Arsenal. Now, he doesn't have a problem with that. Can we agree a deal with Newcastle? Probably, probably not. The other question is, should Arsenal realistically be spending 150 million on one player next summer, or should we be spreading it out? Now, again, there are two perspectives here. One, you look at the perspective of a 150 million pound signing. What does that do? That is a statement signing. You've sent a statement to all your haters, to all your rivals, that this is happening. This project is happening. That's why you sign players for 100 million, 150 million. That's why you do such a deal, right? On the other side, though, this is where things get interesting. On the other side, the squad has been ridden by injuries. It has been dented by injuries. You've got to invest in around 6 players to make sure that what has happened this campaign doesn't happen again. So what is better? If you sign Alexander Isak for 100 million, I wouldn't be angry. One, this team lacks big name performance. This team lacks big name players. There's no question about that. That's number one. Number two, I think Alexander Isak, on top of being that star, on top of being that 30-goal machine, I think is the kind of player that Arsenal are lacking in terms of, it's not happening for us, I'm going to make it happen myself. We don't have that kind of player, apart from Gabriel Magalhaes. Because Magalhaes is defensively doing it, and in terms of attacking, he's also scoring set pieces for us, a lot of set pieces for us. So I think Isak would be that guy that goes, I am going to try and take on 3-4 players because we know he's doing it and score a goal. You need that in the UEFA Champions League. You need that in the Premier League. That is now the downside to signing one player and committing 150 million on Isak is you bring him in, he gets injured, 150 million doesn't look good, and the squad goes back to the same position in which we were maybe just a few months ago before the end of the campaign. So my thinking and my theory would be, get Mikel Arteta 200 million, let him spend 50 on Nico Williams, let him spend 50 on Martin Zubimendi, and let him spend around 100 on Alexander Isak. We have a shortage in midfield then, and that creates a shortage in midfield, and that creates a shortage in the goalkeeping department. If we just have 200 million, I think we could do with another goalkeeper loan as a second goalkeeper, and everything will be all right. I think the midfield can sort itself out by Kai Havertz dropping into the midfield. So I think, for me, if Arsenal have about 200 million and we can get Isak for 100 million, I think it's a deal worth doing. I think it's a deal worth doing, right? Because the only advantage of signing many players is that what has happened to us in terms of injuries, that it doesn't happen again. That's the only thing. We're trying to prevent it from happening again. So that means that if Arsenal could get around 3 quality players, and then we keep the current squad, reservice it, make the players, fit again. Looks like Isak is a good deal. It looks like Isak is a good deal. So, Scholes, I don't understand when he says that Isak should be aiming bigger than Arsenal. And then he points to Liverpool. They've won 1 title in the last 20 years. I just disagree with him. I just disagree with him.